Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another, hopefully perfect episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly rundown where we talk movies, TV, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. And no, we don't strive for perfection here on the Media Boat Podcast. We're real people. Real people are flawed, man. And so is the Media Boat Podcast. Thanks for joining us. This is I almost said December. It's not December. It's January. It's January 30th, 2026. So it's not going to be January for too much longer. It is almost February, if you can believe it or not. And this is episode 523.
Yep. And with the start, we'll get right into it. We'll start with the
Yeah,
music section. Start the
yeah.
music section with the Billboard. Start the Billboard with the Hot 100 and the hottest song in the land. And starting to rack up those numbers for 2026. I Just Might by Bruno Mars.
He just might. Don't start him. He just might.
Yep. At 2 is Man I Need by Olivia Dean, coming up this week. At 3, dropping down from 1 to 2 and now to 3, The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift might be meeting a fate of its own as it slowly drips out of the top 5. At 4 is Golden, still hanging around here, by Huntrix, the various artists. And right at your top 5, also still hanging around, Ordinary by Alex Warren.
Yep.
As for your albums chart, your Billboard 200, at number 1, I don't know why anyone's listening to this because the album's telling you, Don't Be Dumb by ASAP Rocky. I mean, like ASAP Rocky. At 2, The Sin, Vanish, 7th mini album by N Hyphen. At 3, and just in time for the Super Bowl, Debí tirar más fotos by Bad Bunny. Coming in at 4, the problem himself, Morgan Wallen. And running at top 5 with Heaven on Top by Zach Bryan.
Yep.
If you like any of those albums, sucks to be you because there's only one new release this week.
Yeah.
It's I Used to Go to This Bar by Joyce Maynor. And the reason it is the only new release this week is because it is, in fact, Grammy weekend.
I don't know if that's necessarily the reason, but yes, that's a big part of it. As yes, the
I mean,
Grammy Awards
if
are
you
this
ask
Sunday.
Hoobastank, the reason is you.
Oh,
But yeah, we'll get to that just a hot second because first
yes.
we got to talk about the boss, the big boss, the head
Mhm.
honcho, the dude out in New Jersey. Bruce Springsteen released a freshly written song, Streets of Minneapolis, which is a response to what he calls the state terror being visited on the city of Minneapolis, close quote. Which he, of course, dedicated to the city, our immigrant neighbors, and in honor of the residents slain by ICE agents, both Renee Good and Alex Preddy. In a statement, Springsteen said, quote, I wrote this song on Saturday, recorded it yesterday, and released it to you today in response to the state terror being visited on the city of Minneapolis. It's dedicated to the people of Minneapolis, our innocent immigrant neighbors, and in memory of Alex Pretty and Renee Good. Stay free, Bruce Springsteen. Close quote. And then he released the song.
Yeah, I want to say a couple things about this. First of all, for those of you who are aware, today is part of a movement right now called Ice Out, where a lot of people were encouraged to not work, not spend money, especially not on major with major companies that are supporting the administration right now and the terror that's being inflicted by ICE agents in places like Minnesota. So I just wanted to use this part of the show to have an ICE related story to talk about this and say that this is our kind of way of participating.
By continuing to do this podcast. All right. Well, it's that
Participate in that if
time.
you can. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But anyway, you froze for a second there, so I don't know if you missed something, but yeah, so yeah, this is just my little piece of participation of that to remind everybody, hey, if you can contact people that are your legislators and make sure that they're at least trying to think of ways either to defund or abolish ICE or prosecute the people that have been involved in such a campaign that has really put people in danger. I also want to just say briefly, um, the boss mentions Renee Good and Alex Preddy, but let's not forget that there's actually been several more people that have died at the hands of ICE agents in the last few weeks. Just keep that in mind. It's not just the two prominent white people, although yes, RIP, and our thoughts go to their families as well. No one should have died. No one should die in interacting with their federal government, period. Let's make that as clear as possible. But yeah,
Yes, they are not judge, jury, and executioner. There is
no,
no,
they shouldn't be.
everyone is allowed due process according to the law.
Agree. So yeah, let's try to work as a community to see what we can do to make sure that this terror does not happen in any more communities and stops in the communities that it's currently happening in.
That's why there are protests all around the country
Yes,
right now.
indeed.
And
Today.
hopefully they are
So
blasting streets of Minneapolis.
you would hope. Now we have a song to unite everybody, which is good. So thanks, Bruce. And yes,
Yes.
as you would imagine, the president hates it.
Because it's Bruce Springsteen?
I mean, also in the content of the song. But yes,
Oh, yes.
both can be true.
Both can be true.
But yes, let's move on to some fun though. Let's pivot out of that kind of depressing story and back into the Grammys, as we do a tradition here on the Media Boat podcast. Let's talk about the four big awards that are coming up on Sunday night and where we think they're heading.
All right. Of course, the four major awards are
Mhm.
Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best New Artist.
Yes.
All right. So let's go from bottom up as we
Okay.
start with Best New Artist.
All right.
And I
Your
think this
best
one's
new.
very easy to
Yeah, I think
pick
so.
because it's Huntrix. They've just been dominating everything.
They are not nominated for best new artist because they're not real.
What?
They're
That's not what my
fictional.
Netflix queue says.
All right. I'm going to do my best impression of the announcer that announces the nominees on the Grammys. Okay. Best New Artist. All right. Okay. Olivia Dean, Cat's Eye, The Marias, Addison Rae, Somber, Leon Thomas, Alex Warren, Lola Young. There we go. All right. Who do
That
you
was actually
think
really
will
good.
be crowned? Thank you. I took some voice acting classes. I don't know if you know that about me. Best New Artist. Where do you think this is headed?
I think we're seeing probably top three here being Olivia Dean, Addison Rae, and Alex Warren.
Yes, I agree. I think there's an outside chance here for Somber. He did have a big hit last year and also a SNL appearance. Lola Young, Messy, did a surprising crossover success on a lot of radio stations, and now she's disappeared, or at least said that she's going to go lay low for a little bit, which means that her chances were probably strong once, but probably not strong anymore. I am leaning towards Alex Warren here because when you think about presence in the Billboard 100, Alex Warren is still in the top five. Um, it was arguably the song of the summer, even though it sucks. um, and I think the Academy is going to lean towards the artist that they most recognize here, and they've read the name Alex Warren an awful lot in 2025.
Right. Even though Olivia Dean is currently
Mhm.
higher in the Billboard charts, she is on the rise, but voting is not this past week. It concluded
No.
a while ago,
Exactly. I think it's too little too late for Olivia Dean. I think Cat's Eye has an outside chance, but you're looking at Alex Warren, all likelihood to win this.
which is why I'm going to go with Addison Rae because
Because Diet Pepsi is your favorite drink.
it definitely is.
I
When
had Diet
available,
Coke today, though. I have to admit. Sorry,
well, when
Edison.
available, because it's usually not available, but when it is, it's like the Mr. Man. I don't always drink Diet Pepsi. I
Yeah,
don't always drink Coke, but when I do,
but when
it's
I
a Diet
do,
Pepsi.
all right. So are you really on Addison right here? Is your prediction?
I am on Addison
Okay, all
Rae
right.
here.
I like that we're divided. I like that it's not a unanimous choice. All right.
I think she had the better album and not just a
I
single
mean,
hit.
you're correct. Like I said, Ordinary is not a good song, but Alex Warren is a name people recognize. But I was telling Christy before I recorded, my goal for these predictions this year was to channel a normie, channel an average Grammy voter, channel somebody who does not actually care about the quality here, and just try to predict the winners. So,
All right.
all
Well,
right, we'll
that
see.
means we go to Song of the Year.
Yes,
Now,
and
remind everyone the
yes.
difference between Song of the Year and Record of the Year.
We do this every year. Yes,
We
Song of the
have
Year
to.
is the Writers Award. It is the award is given to the songwriters for the song. Record of the Year, meanwhile, is for production. It is given to the producer of the song. Just as a reminder.
So, for Song of the Year, the song writers, take it
Mhm.
away. Who do we got?
All right. Song of the Year: Abracadabra, Lady Gaga. Anxiety, Doechii. APT, Rosé, Bruno Mars. DTMF, Bad Bunny. Golden, Huntrix. Luther, Kendrick Lamar with SZA. Manchild, Sabrina Carpenter. Wildflower, Billie Eilish.
All right. Some familiar
Mm-hmm.
titles here.
This is a toughie. I'm not going to lie. I think the Song of the Year and the Record of the Year categories are really difficult because you have a lot of people who have had a lot of Grammy success. Lady Gaga kind of making a comeback here. I think there's a chance that Grammy voters lean towards her as Mayhem was a very popular charting and critically adored album this year. I also think that Bad Bunny has strength going into a year in which he is going to be your Super Bowl performer competitor. No, he's not. He's not playing against the New England Patriots, unfortunately. We'll
With
talk
the
about
many
that in
hyphenate
sports.
slashes he has, I'm pretty sure he could.
You probably could. Um, but then you have the you kind of have the left field choice, which is Golden. It was a huge hit this year. But then you have Grammy powerhouses Kendrick Lamar and Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish has a history of winning a lot of Grammys, and Kendrick had a big year last year. So does that momentum continue? Is kind of the big question here.
And I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say no. Well, yes, there are a lot of good Grammy contenders here. I think I am going to put all my chips in one basket and go for the Bad Bunny sweep.
Okay, all right, I like that. I like that gusto here.
I think there's a reason he's everywhere right now. Billboard just named him the number one pop
Hmm.
artist of 2025,
Yeah.
and it's just more pompous ahead of that Super Bowl performance. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
with Song of the Year, Bad Bunny,
I
the
think that
Bibby
logic does
Tramar
check
Moss
out.
photos.
I think that logic checks out. I agree. However, I am going a little different. I am taking a little bit of risk, but not really a risk by going with Golden here. The reason why I'm going Golden is because I think if it's going to win anything, it will win here and maybe one other category we'll get that we won't get to today. But yeah, I do think that it was everywhere. It was one of those songs that permeated culture. And I don't think it's because of the production. I think it's the songwriting. I think it's they take a K-pop base, but then figure out ways to play around with the construction of the song as well as lyrics. It's also telling a story. You can enjoy it without necessarily knowing the context of the movie, but if you know the context of the movie, it makes the song even better. And I think just the craft that's on display here makes it, to me, a shoe in for a songwriting award, which is why I think that's Song of the Year.
See, I think it's on here as a pity vote saying, okay, we'll throw it on here so people can root for it because you don't see it
Mm,
anywhere else here.
that's not true. Like I said, it's in the pop categories down there, uh, which we're not talking about. But yes, I do think that I don't think it's a pity vote. I think that it's here because it was, if you lest you forget, a number one song that in 2025.
It
Just
will
as a
win the
reminder.
Grammy for Best Song for a Visual Medium.
I mean,
That's
yes,
it.
obviously it will, but like, I'm still saying that I think it has a chance at Song of the Year and will maybe even win it.
All right, well, let's go to the producing side in Record of the Year. Hit me with those nominees.
DTMF, Bad Bunny, Manchild, Sabrina Carpenter, Anxiety, Doechii, Wildflower, Billie Eilish, Abracadabra, Lady Gaga, Luther, Kendrick Lamar with SZA, The Subway, Chapel Roan, APT, Rosé, Bruno Mars. So yeah, a lot of the same songs are included here. But again, ranking by different ways. So you, of course, have locked in with the sweep for Bad Bunny. So obviously that is your choice.
Hmm.
For record of the year, what I always get wrong, I always get record of the year wrong. And this year I'm trying to amend that. The reason why I usually get it wrong is because I try to pick the song that I think has the most impressive production. Because if I'm thinking production award, I'm thinking, well, that's the best sounding song. What I always fail to think about, though, is that what I think sounds good and what the average Grammy voter thinks sounds good is probably different. And so this year, I'm trying to think like a Grammy voter. And I'm thinking, what usually wins this category? And I thought about Miley Cyrus "Flowers," and I picked the closest thing to that song in this category, which is APT.
Oh,
I
see, I thought you were
think
going to say Man-Child, but yeah, go ahead.
no, I think Manchild is a great produced album song to me, and that's why I didn't say it here because I think it's actually really I think it's better produced than APT is. But APT is the kind of song I think that wins record of the year. Also, it was also inescapable in 2025, and Bruno Mars is a Grammy favorite, and so I think it is probably my lock. If I have any locks in these top four, this is my lock. I think ABT is the kind of song that the Grammys award.
I think if DTMF doesn't get it for Bad Bunny, I would
Mm.
rather choose Man-Child to see it
I
win.
honestly, I would also rather choose it, but
All right, so that is our second choice.
yeah,
But
I think yeah, maybe it's somewhere in there. I
eh,
also think if they're going to give Billie Eilish anything, it might be here. Wildflower is an impressively produced song, in my opinion. I think it's probably one of the better Phineas productions late of on that record. I like Birds of a Feather better, but that was last year. But yeah, I think that really you're not looking at a whole lot of strong contenders here besides what we mentioned.
all right, well, let's get to the big one, Album of the Year.
Yes. Debí tirar más fotos, Bad Bunny. Swag, Justin Bieber. Man's Best Friend, Sabrina Carpenter. Let God Sort 'em Out, Clips. That's Pusha T and Malice, if you didn't know. Mayhem, Lady Gaga. GNX, Kendrick Lamar. Mutt, Leon Thomas. Chromacopia, Tyler the Creator. All right. What
All
do you
right.
think?
I think I may have gotten Best New Artist wrong because Leon Thomas is nominated here.
So Leon Thomas is nominated here, but remember that's not a guarantee for best new artist. This is not the Oscars. Just because you have something in another category that's lower does not mean it's a guarantee hit. Although I kind of did that for a category later with Leon Thomas because I did kind of use that internal logic,
Right.
but it doesn't work for
Mhm.
best new artist. Best new artist always goes in a weird curveball, and I think that that's why we kind of settled where we did. But that being said, album of the year. I don't think Leon Thomas has a chance. I don't think Tyler has a chance. You can eliminate those two. The Clips record is not winning this. Rap records notoriously have a hard time winning album of the year, which also, but I think there's an exception this year, and I do think that that's why I'm pushing for Kendrick Lamar. I think if Kendrick Lamar has a big surprise win, it's here. It's album of the year for GNX. Because I'm just looking at this list beyond Bad Bunny, which is probably number two. I can't see any of these winning.
Right, but see, GNX is only on this list because of the cutoff. Otherwise, it should have
Yeah.
won last year,
Yes, yes.
which is why a lot of people are
Eligibility.
thinking, oh, didn't this already win?
No. Eligibility made that one complicated. So yeah, I do get the argument for Bad Bunny here as you go for your Bad Bunny sweep.
Yes. I'm
And
going for
and
Bad
maybe
Bunny because of the various sounds mixed throughout the entire album.
yeah.
The Latin, the salsa, the big bombas, the smooth jazz, the pop record, which it obviously is, It's all in here. It's all mixed well. And when I talked about it, it wasn't really for me, but there's a lot going on for it that I do appreciate. And I think here
Yeah.
is where it's going to win.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I hope you're right. I hope Bad Bunny sweeps. I hope that he has a great night because, yeah, he's important right now. He's making important music, and I think it would be cool to see him win. But the Grammys are gonna Grammy, and I just don't see a full sweep. But you're right. If he wins anything, it'll probably be here. So I agree with you, but I'm gonna play a little safe here. Just assume that the Kendrick momentum puts him at least in here.
See, you're taking the big swing now.
Yeah, I'm taking the big swing there. All right,
All
but
right.
those are your
Well,
those are your big four. So we'll see
mhm.
how things pan out on Sunday, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yep, we'll see who made the bigger swing and who made the biggest splash. Also, who the performances, because we will be
Yes,
watching and we'll be talking about that next week.
next week.
All right. So let's move on then. Did you listen to anything?
No, this is when I would usually have done like my Grammy catch up where I try to listen to all of the album of the year nominees, but actually I've listened to a lot of those already. So I don't really have much homework to do. So that's good news. So I didn't have to do that.
Are you, I mean, you got a week to catch up on all your
Yeah,
Bad Bunny discography.
right. I think collectively, I think we've both listened to all of these except for Leon Thomas, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. So yeah, good on
All right.
us.
Hey, doing our job. All
Yeah.
right, let's then move on to video games, where we start with new releases.
Mhm.
We have Code Vein 2 for the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X, and Dragon Quest 7 reimagined for everything. Wide release. You got it. You can play it. Even the Switch 2, you got
Yeah.
it. You can play it.
Yeah. Speaking of the Switch 2.
Yeah. Let's talk about that in our video game news section,
Hmm.
with Nintendo having to come out and comment on why Dispatch, the recently released game that we talked about last week,
Hmm.
has been censored on Nintendo Switch platforms.
Hmm.
Earlier this week, as mentioned, Dispatch, the episodic narrative adventure game by AdHoc Studio, set up by veteran developers from Telltale Games, Ubisoft, and Night School Studio, was released on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. However, shortly after the game's release, fans noticed that the Nintendo Switch version includes permanent censorship not present in other versions. Nintendo has released a statement in response to the fan outcry over the censorship of the game, but has shed little light on the specific reason for the censorship. Quote, Nintendo requires all games on its platforms to receive ratings from independent organizations and to meet our established content and platform guidelines. While we inform partners when their titles don't meet our guidelines, Nintendo does not make changes to partner content. We also do not discuss specific content or the criteria used in making these determinations. Close quote. Now, there is one kind of prominent theory out there as to why there's censorship in Nintendo Switch version of the games, and it has to do with how Nintendo Switch games are sold on the Nintendo eShop. Often, the eShop hosts a single game across multiple languages, and the game simply changes its language depending on the system setting of the console. In cases like this, the single version of the game must pass certification with each regional board rating, many of which vary greatly in terms of what they deem appropriate for certain age groups. If this is the reason, one way to get around this could be to release two versions of the same game on the eShop and restrict them to certain regions.
So, yeah, I just want to briefly give a little additional context. So, since I copy and pasted this, I actually did find ad hoc statement as well. Ad hoc basically said, yeah, we didn't know that this was the case on Nintendo platform. So, we were surprised basically when Nintendo came back and told us that statement. They were basically like, hey, you didn't pass our criteria. And so they were like, okay. And again, like Nintendo says, they weren't directed exactly what didn't qualify. So, needless to say, Ad Hoc went in and made the changes themselves. Nintendo did not make those changes. Ad Hoc had to basically resubmit Nintendo and get it passed. They didn't think they'd have to do this because they thought, well, this is a console that you can play The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 on, two games that have nude sex scenes in them. So why would Dispatch have to censor theirs, is what they assumed. So they didn't have to do this. Of course, now reading this, this theory about why it may have been kept from happening makes me think, oh, well, maybe those games did have that like two different version approach for like the European boards and the US boards. And
Mhm.
maybe that's why they went through. So it looks like AdHoc's next move is going to possibly try to work with Nintendo to see if they can do that, release multiple versions of the game on the eShop, so that way they can have the non-censored version available for you, at least US players, um, because the ESRB did their job already. So yeah, it's a weird one that like but it does finally reveal that Nintendo does have like basically a brick wall that maybe the other platforms don't have, which makes some sense as kind of like the Disney of video games, but is surprising in 2026.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense to have the different regions, to have it region locked
Yeah,
um, per session or per region locked per version of the game. And yes, big company studios like Witcher 3, like Cyberpunk 2077 would probably think this far in advance and release those two.
yeah.
Mm, Uh, it
But
makes
if you've never
sense,
worked with
but
Nintendo, yeah, if you never worked with
yes.
Nintendo before, for example, if this is your first video game, then you might not know.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So someone at AdHoc is definitely getting their head rolled right now.
Yeah. So good luck to them. But that's not the only weird thing that Nintendo is not letting you see.
Well, I'm not sure about that because I don't know anything about Tomodachi Life. So take
Yeah.
this away.
Okay. So after this week's Nintendo Direct, they had a Nintendo Direct this week that was exclusively dedicated to a game called Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, which is a sequel to the 3DS title, Tomodachi Life, which came out, I want to say about 7 to 8 years ago. It's been a while. But this was a game that they announced at Nintendo Direct last year. They gave more details this time, but one of the details that came out after the Nintendo Direct was that picture sharing. So the concept that a lot of Nintendo Switch games let you do, which is take a screenshot in with using the Switch's own built-in capture tool, and then automatically send it to another Switch user. This is something you can do in a Pokemon game, for example, in Animal Crossing. There's no restrictions typically in Switch games about sending other Switch users a screenshot. However, Nintendo said that they will be limiting the screenshot share feature for Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. They didn't explicitly say why. They said some stuff about, well, we're going to try to maintain the community standards and try to promote this game as a escape and a fun, positive environment for everyone. Something like that. Which makes me think like, oh, the fact that you can basically have, let's say, me characters in Tomodachi Life that maybe are supposed to look like certain people, maybe people in real life, and have them doing things or saying things that might, make certain people mad or uncomfortable. And they don't want those, say, going viral on social media and bringing attention to Tomodachi Life as the source of such an image. Nintendo's being very careful here for the
Now,
reason.
who out there could be very susceptible to receiving such images and
Yeah.
construing out what they want it to be? And I feel like
Yes.
this also like putting just a giant spotlight on it, which had they not said anything,
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't be that much big of a deal.
I mean, really, what this means is that to do a screenshot here, you're going to have to take it with your phone and share that on Blue Sky or something like that. So it's not like it's going to keep Tomodachi Life images from going viral and getting out there. It's just that Nintendo doesn't want to make it easy. They want to make it harder for people to do this so that it's less likely than it would be if they just open the floodgates and let you share openly, say, me that looks like, I don't know, say our president, for example.
Oh, that's who you're going for? Okay.
Just as an example, just something that somebody might do.
Oh, see, I thought you were going with Nintendo president, or sorry, former Nintendo president Doug Bowser.
Oh no, no, I mean, sure, the Doug Bowser ones are gonna be fine. Those are a-okay. Nintendo proves that. But yeah, I think this is stupid. Like you can't like if you're going to have a screenshot feature, you just have to assume that if you're creating that, you are assuming that it like you're basically giving a free pass. Like if I create a game, if Nintendo makes a game, and then people are allowed to share screenshots of it. To make an exception just because there's created content is weird because aren't there wrestling games on the Nintendo Switch? I'm sure you can take a screenshot of your creator wrestler that looks like some real figure and show him getting suplexed. Like, what's the difference here? Like, this is even tamer than that. This is like they probably could just say something canned about like I like oranges or something like that, and the other characters goes, "Oh, I like oranges too." It's like I just don't understand why this is their line.
Or maybe you just have two penguins out there, and one says, I like ice. Another penguin that says, I don't like ice.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're
It's
just
real
penguins talking
silly.
about ice and nothing else in the world.
Yeah, no, nothing at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating, but it's Nintendo, and if anything that these two stories remind us is that Nintendo is still Nintendo, still with their head in the sand even after all these years.
What? Nintendo's going to Nintendo? What? Is this
What a
new?
concept. Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
that's your stories.
All right. Well, let's talk about some games we've been playing. And I've been playing a lot of Arknights Enfield. Maybe a
Still,
little too much.
yeah, maybe not. By the way, I bailed on it. I was gonna try it after we podcasted, but ultimately the thing is I just don't want to play a character who has a mask like that. That just sounds like boring
Even though
to
you're
me.
always looking at the back of the head in a
Yeah,
3D
it's
form.
just not fun, man. I
Well,
want to
you
be
don't
able
have to
to.
be that character. You play as the other characters. They don't have to be on
Yeah,
your
but
team.
like, also I just kept thinking about like, well, I don't want to play it if it just plays like one of those. It just sounds like it does, and I was like, not enough for me. Plus, I don't need to do that when need to focus on finishing games from last year.
All right. So tell me about the other looter shooter. Sorry, the original looter shooter,
Yeah, I guess
Borderlands,
so.
the fourth one.
So my goal between last week and this week was to try to finish the campaign of Borderlands 4. Emphasis on try. It took me way longer than I thought. Every time I thought I got into the end, it wasn't. There was like another mission. The thing that the end game of Borderlands 4's campaign does is that instead of having the open world settings, it decides that the last three things you do are all in linear classic Borderlands feeling levels. And I was like, okay, kind of disappointing. Like I thought I was going to get more open world stuff, but no, it funnels you into some story stuff as the last few things you do. And this culminates in a final boss that is in classic Borderlands style again, is absolutely stupid. It's very straightforward. You know where the weak spots are. It seems like it'll be very simple to do. It's a two-stage thing. You beat him once, he comes back. Both of the stages have three health bars. So you're just slowly whittling it around, slowly doing the Borderlands thing of, okay, dash, 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 shoot, 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 dash, 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 shoot, 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 just over and over and over again for like way too long. But in the first phase, there's stuff in the air, like these like floating robots that you can kill if you get down and out, right? Second phase, there are none. So if you're down, you're out. And I am playing this solo, I should note. I'm sure this is probably very doable in co-op, but I don't play these games co-op. So I just kept trying at this final boss, and that second phase got me every single time because I would get him like to the last health bar, and I would finally go down after being pretty good through the rest of being pretty good about the patterns. I pretty much got the patterns done down, but he would just get me, and then there was nothing I could shoot to resurrect, and they would send me right to the beginning of the boss again, and I was just like, so I had a thought. I had a thought. You know, what if I just don't? I got there. What if I just don't bother? And then maybe just do some side stuff. And then driving home from work yesterday, I had another thought.
I don't
Maybe I
want to do
don't
the
even do
fight
the side stuff.
stuff.
Maybe I just never play Borderlands 4 ever again.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I might be done. I might just be done with it. It's it's Borderlands, and I man, I loved the first Borderlands. Every time I think about that first Borderlands game, I'm like, man, what a good game. And I played all the DLC. I wanted to play that game forever. Just diminishing returns, man. I'm just not that person anymore, or those games just aren't those games anymore. And just like, for whatever reason, 4 has the same problem that 3 had with me, which is I'll play most of it, but then if you want me to go back to it, I don't know. I don't know if I have that kind of dog in me. I just,
I think Borderlands falls into the Pokemon Generations category in terms of likability, where the
yeah,
first one you play is going to be the
yeah,
one you latch onto
I
and the one
agree.
you're going to hold every other standard to, and it just won't live it up to it. If it's one, if it's two, if it's three, if it's four for
Hmm.
Borderlands, you're going to like the one you're playing because it feels fresh and new. But then if you
Hmm.
go to any of the other ones, you're going to feel like, oh man, I wish they would have done this, or I wish they did that, or I
Yeah,
wish it wasn't this long. And there's always something that you're going to be nitpicking about
right.
because you're gonna have that first one just so like etched in your mind,
Yeah,
which is both good and bad for what's this 2K, I believe,
yeah,
trying
2K.
to get new people onto Borderlands.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be for somebody else, and I did hear good things about the post game content. I just don't think I have the stamina to make it there. I just don't know because yeah, I could grind on the, the side quests, get a bunch of good loot, get some great guns, and maybe then take out the boss and then go into the final stuff. Or I could just play other video games. So I'm doing that instead.
Right, just not Arc Knight Enfield.
No, just not that one. No.
Okay, I'll be playing that then. I should
But yeah,
definitely stream it.
I'm hoping to finish. My new goal then now will I'm going to try to finish Unbeatable soon, so that way I can see the end game there. Because from what I've heard, the end of that story is worth it. So I really want to make it to there. And then maybe after that, I don't know. Then I'm kind of clear. So on my
There's a
backlog.
new
So
update for Nikki, Infinity Nikki.
yeah, I thought about that. But then when I jumped into the little bit of 2.0, I wasn't super jazzed about what they would do, what they did. I think mostly because the thing I want that game to give me is way more clothes. And I
Yeah, it
just do
doesn't.
not think that they are interested in doing that. They are interested in making more content for me to do, more
Hmm.
quests for me to run. But that is not what I want from Infinity Nikki. I want the content to be number two to the number one, which is making Nikki look cool. That's
No,
not
no, they
they're
give you a
not
lot of
making that
preset
game.
options,
Yeah,
a
they're
lot,
not
lot of
making that game
sets
for
to
me.
use.
I did like the archery stuff that I tried. I did like how they've implemented it. That's cool, but not enough to keep me there.
All right. Well, that's what we're playing. So then let's
Hmm.
go on to television, where we start with the sports corner.
Yes, indeed. What a sports corner.
And
What a sports week.
oh, what a sports weekend we have upcoming
Hmm.
because the Australian Open finals are here. And it's good to be number one as Carlos Alcaraz has gunning for his, believe it or not, first Australian Open trophy. He has not won this game before, or not won this
This
trophy
tournament.
before.
Yeah.
Tournament. Meanwhile, he's going up against Djokovic in this morning, a stellar. Well, I say this morning because I woke up. It was really like 12:30 Pacific time at night, and they played for 4 hours. So waking up at 6 o'clock, I caught the end of this. Djokovic ended up beating Sinner, so we don't get an Alcaraz Sinner matchup like some of us wanted.
Yeah.
Instead, we get the never won the Australian Open finals in Alcaraz versus the going for my 11th title of the Australian Open in Djokovic.
Yeah. I just want to make a joke real quick. Just like the Oscars, it'll be a bad year for sinners. Anyway.
Anyways, that will take place on Sunday. Meanwhile, on Saturday, the women's finals, where we have at number one and last year's number two runner-up, Anya Sabalenka will be going up against number five, Ryba Inca.
Reba?
It's like
Reba
Erica
McIntyre.
Rybakina. Rybakina, that's what it is.
Okay.
From Kazakhstan. Uh,
Okay.
Sabalenka is trying to not have another loss in the finals of the Australian Open
Yeah.
because she famously had one last year to not to Madison Keys to start the year, but
Mm.
she was ranked eighth and Sabalenka was ranked one, and now we have a ranked five against a ranked one. So all those matches, by the way, watch those highlights on YouTube, make it fall in love with tennis, then go watch challengers and fall in love
Yeah.
with tennis all over again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good day for some good fucking tennis.
Look forward to it.
Yes. But we are also 1 week away from the Olympics, the
Yes.
Winter Olympics opening ceremony. Uh, but we have some tragic news happen today
Yeah.
as formerly injured at the Olympics, broke her leg, came back, and is now once again injured. Lindsey Vonn, as she crashed and injured her left knee today during her final downhill race before the Olympics
Mm,
at the World Cup.
yeah.
Apparently, there were already several collisions or instances before she went up and did her
Mm,
run. But then after she fell, they shut down the event because it was too many
yeah.
incidents.
Too many
And
incidents.
yeah, unfortunately, this happened a week before the Olympics.
Yeah.
They say she's going to be okay and ready, but
You never know.
tough to see.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine this is a lot of watching her closely. This is a lot of physical therapy, as you would know about. But yeah, I'm sure that this is going to be real intensive stuff, training going into before the Olympics start in earnest. Because yeah, it would be really, really disappointing. I'm sure no one would be disappointed more than Lindsey Vonn herself if she was unable to participate in the Winter Olympics this year.
Right. But we'll have all those fun events, including
Yeah.
curling and the
Yes.
biathlon,
Yeah.
starting next week.
And the fun thing is because of time zones, we will be able to talk about the opening ceremonies by the time we record because I think they'll be over by the time we record,
Yes, they
hopefully.
start at 10 a.m. Pacific
Yeah.
time.
So yeah, I imagine that by the time we record at 4 or 5 of next
Yeah.
week, that they may be over in Italy. So yeah, we'll be able to talk about hopefully how the opening ceremonies go.
Yep. Also, this time next week, we'll be talking about who is the NFL MVP, as the
Yes.
NFL awards will occur on Thursday. But we do know one person who will not be in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
and that is Bill Belichick, as in his first year of eligibility, has missed the amount of votes required to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think it's fun. This is an interesting story to me because it goes to prove that no matter how successful of a coach you are, no matter how many Super Bowls you have under your belt, no matter how many winning seasons you have, no matter your association with one of maybe the best player that's ever played the game, no matter all that, people are petty.
Spygate,
Exactly.
Deflationgate.
People don't forget when you do things that are not cool in your sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the second winningest coach in NFL history.
Hmm. Yeah.
Not first ballot Hall of Fame.
It doesn't matter because, yes, you're right. People are butthurt, for lack of a better term, about losing to him and often losing to him on, like you said, some suspicious ways.
Mhm.
I
I
don't
mean,
blame him.
also that he's currently coaching in college. He
Yeah.
also technically did not announce retirement from the NFL. He's just no longer the coach of the
Right.
Patriots.
Yeah.
So I think so. This is, well, we know college coaches do come back to coach again, and we don't really want to have an active Hall of Fame coach on the sidelines coaching for
Yeah.
another team. So
Yeah.
he's not, Belichick has never said, like, I'm done coaching the NFL,
Right.
like outright. So because he's an active coach, I can see other people going that route and saying, he's an active coach, so I'm not going to vote for him because he's not done. Just like
Yeah.
Philip Rivers was not
Yeah.
done.
Not done. But yeah, I'm obviously I think this is hilarious. I've never been a fan of him, so I feel like this is redemption in a lot of ways for all the people that he wronged. So yeah, I'm okay if he never gets in. It'll
Yeah,
happen eventually. I know.
the aura of first ballot Hall of Fame goes away
Yeah.
when Adam Vinatieri, the man who has literally scored the most points
Yeah.
in the entire history of the NFL, was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He might get in it this year, but he was
Yeah.
not a first ballot Hall of Famer, so it kind of like goes out of the way.
Yeah.
Same thing with like baseball writing. Like
Right.
when Mariano Rivera is the only player ever
Hmm.
to have unanimous votes
Yeah.
for the Hall of Fame.
Because you're always gonna have that one person who is like, I hate that guy's guts because I could never win against him.
Or like I'll have, or the other mentality of I only have so many votes to give out. I
Yeah.
know they're going to get in, so I'm going to give it somewhere else.
Right. I'm gonna do this like pet player that I really like because this person's I'm sure they're in. Yeah.
Right. They just won't get
Yeah.
the unanimous first
Yeah.
ballot.
I mean, all that prestige doesn't really matter. If you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. Like it's okay.
Yes.
It's like okay, you'll get in eventually if you are that important to the sport.
Right. If you're so good at the sport, they will label you a bust. I'm sorry, they will label your bust.
Yeah, exactly. One of those two things.
All
All
right.
right.
Speaking of the MLB,
Yeah.
we've done it.
Yes.
We've gone back in time because we have a repeat cover athlete.
Yeah.
That's not who you think it is.
No, we tried to guess. We did our best swing, no pun intended, at what we thought was going to happen, and we missed it by one, by one player. So I got an email. The origin of this is I got an email. I'm sure everybody who was on the mailing list for MLB The Show, the video game franchise, got this email, and it was basically what accounts to a press release saying, "Hey, MLB The Show 26 is not going to have a new cover athlete on it." Which implied that it would be someone who has already gotten a cover in the past returning to the cover of the game. Sure enough, the very next day, they announced it was none other than Aaron Judge who will be returning to the cover of MLB The Show.
Mr. Creative Player has done it again.
Yep.
99 stats coming back.
Number
And I do
99,
like the
99,
cover
99. Yeah.
because it kind of tracks his way through high
Yeah.
school, then college, then
Hmm.
pro, then postseason, then
Yeah.
World Baseball Classic.
So, yeah, I think it's interesting. And the reason why I'll say this is because before we assumed it was going to be Otani. And the theory was you said, well, he hasn't been on the cover in his Dodgers jersey yet. And I was like, that's true. And then I also pitched, well, also, they're trying to probably push this internationally a little bit more this year because they're launching a phone version.
Mhm.
Still no news, by the way, on the US version of that, despite the press releases. So I don't know. They really only mentioned the same three Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch versions of the game. They did not say anything else. So I don't know if they're still being strategic about when they want to talk about the phone version. But anyways, neither here nor there. So that was my theory, but this actually makes sense now in hindsight because of what you just said. Because what they've been doing the last few years of the show is trying to build out these alternate story modes. And this is a perfect story mode, right? They've done the Negro Leagues for the last 2 years, but this year you might see one. Let's track a superstar through their entire career. They've already started doing that with the Road to the Show mode last year by introducing the colleges being so important to the Road to the Show. This year, they've already said more colleges will be involved in that. So I assume that that will tie directly into play as Aaron Judge in college, through the minors, to the major leagues. I think
Mhm.
that that's probably a perfect fit for the thing that they've been doing at Sony Santa Monica with these games.
Yeah, I mean, the road to the show is one of their more iconic
Yeah,
instances of MLB games
yeah,
because you want to be the show.
yeah,
You want to be in the show. You want to be the MVP.
yeah.
And you do it with Mr. Creative Player. But that's not the only MLB story we have.
So this has been percolating, this other story they added over the last few weeks, but I
What?
didn't want
Sports
to.
betting? Percolating? What?
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to put this until I was absolutely sure that this is going to be another catastrophe. This is actually a story we've been tracking for years here on the Media Boat podcast that might finally blow up. And It's our old friends at FanDuel Sports Network rearing their heads again.
All right. What did they do?
All right. Well, I'll open this up because I want to get this 100% right. I linked it. This is a story that's coming from Sports Business Journal. Journalist, not my actual friend, but Tom Friend is his name, has said he has sources that say that Main Street Sports Group, the company that currently owns the regional sports networks known as FanDuel Sports Network, this happened the last time they went into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, if you remember that part.
Hmm.
They are also looking like they are going to dissolve and have little choice but to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is
Oh,
different.
that's complete.
Yeah, that's absolute liquidation and immediately liquidate by possibly as early as next week. So if this happens, if they can't figure out any last minute deals to make, this will mean that those contracts are all immediately terminated. That would immediately affect the ongoing NBA and NHL seasons that are already airing on those networks. And also, as you would imagine, would terminate agreements prior to baseball season and would eliminate all nine deals that they currently have right now. The theory is that the reason why they're likely to do this is because rumors have been circulating that the MLB is going to pull, that all nine of those teams are ready to all terminate their contracts because of the precariousness of Main Street Sports Group right now. If that happens, this is pretty much guaranteed. And it's
Yeah,
probably not
they
going to
do
be
what
just
they
one.
want to do, which is be the NFL and
Right.
control all their rights.
So yeah, it's very possible what we talked about last week, or sorry, not last week, last year, where this basically the scenario was also almost going to happen, and then out of nowhere they pulled a parachute. Well, this
Hmm.
is that parachute literally dissolving into ashes right now. That's not going to happen this year. I just can't imagine, and this journalist clearly agrees, that there's any escape cord that they can pull this time. This looks pretty dire, especially if those teams back out. And yes, that includes, if you're any of these markets, the Atlanta Braves, the Cincinnati Reds, the Detroit Tigers, an incredibly important team lately in baseball, the Kansas City Royals, the Los Angeles Angels, the Miami Marlins, the Milwaukee Brewers, another incredibly important team to follow lately. The the Cardinals and the Rays, which a less lesser, but still they're involved in here. But yes, those are the nine teams, and if they all pull this week, you are probably looking at the MLB trying to have some sort of contingency plan for the TV deals for these teams because that's it.
Contingency plan should be screw your TV, come watch them in person. Tickets are
Right.
cheap.
Well, that's the thing is they're not because if you
They're not.
consider some of
Yes.
these teams, the
MLB can
Detroit
say it is.
Tigers games and Brewers games are still going to be expensive because they are teams that have won a lot in the last two seasons and are exciting to watch. Not so much for the
No,
Angels,
I'm saying the
but
MLB would subsidize those tickets to
right.
make them cheap.
It's possible. But I think, yeah, you're going to have teams that really are scrambling because if you've noticed that these are also nine teams that haven't had that great of off seasons, this is one of the reasons why. Regional sports networks is a big portion of how teams make their money, especially here in Los Angeles. The Angels pretty much rely on that because of how big of a popular market that they play in. And so if that revenue suddenly goes up in smoke and they have to figure out how to revitalize it, that's why they probably have been very penny pinching, among other reasons. But yeah, all these teams have that in common. I'm looking at all these, and I'm like, none of these really made that big of deals. The Brewers traded some players away; they didn't buy; they were kind of sellers. And you're looking at this that makes sense when you kind of look at this situation. It is precarious. So yeah, I just want to mention that unlike last year, it looks like this might actually happen. FanDuel Sports Network might just not be a thing, and it could happen next week.
Good thing I didn't sign up for FanDuel Sports Network to
Right.
watch anyone then.
I canceled mine at the end of the season last year because I was like, I don't need to even think about this until March, just in case.
All right. How soon until Amazon comes in and says, you are mine now?
That's a good question. Amazon was kind of in bed with these guys. Not really. They were
Hmm.
just basically like, hey, we'll put it up on our platform so for people can have the option to subscribe. But they were not actually invested per se, so I don't know. I don't know what they did. They would have to go direct to the MLB, I think, to make some sort of deal related to that, and I don't know if they do.
The other option is Apple TV sitting in the
Yeah,
corner going like this, being,
maybe.
ha 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 ha, you come back to me.
It's very possible. I don't know. There could be all sorts of moves made, but they have to be made very quickly because the
And
clock is
Apple
running
is
out.
known to make deals very quickly.
Spring training games happen to start in less than 1 month, so they don't
Yeah.
have much time. So we'll see.
So we will know the fate of this within a
Maybe
month's time.
within maybe a week too. Like at least
Yep.
thinking about these specifics, these channels. So we'll see. Also,
All right.
yeah, if you're in one of those basketball or hockey markets, good luck.
uh,
You'll see.
all right. Speaking of basketball and hockey, we get NBA has trade deadline next week, February 5th. It's
Yes.
coming. It's here. We'll see who stays, who goes, and the big names that will be wearing different jerseys.
Yeah.
Over in the NHL, we have a new leader.
The guy from
Patrick,
Heated Rivalry. No?
no, Patrick Kane has become the highest scoring U.S. born player in NHL history, passing none other than Mike Modano for his 1,375th point, not
Hmm.
goal, point.
Okay.
But earlier this week, he also became the 50th player ever and only the fifth American to score 500 goals in the NHL.
Wow.
This is, of course,
Congratulations.
he is 37, so over a 17-year career and still going because
Yeah.
these players are known to play to their 40s.
Hmm. No, it's
So
impressive.
he's just setting the bar now, or actually, he's setting the bar for U.S. born players.
Right. I
Still
was
got to
gonna
catch
say,
all
yeah, kind of
Canadians.
crucial for the NHL because usually when you're talking about stats in hockey, it's the Canadians.
Yes, Wayne Gretzky is Canadian, still
Mhm.
up there
Mhm.
on the
Still
top.
up there. The other guy who has what's his name? Who
Ovechkin,
passed? Yeah, Ovechkin, Canadian.
no, Russian.
No, Russian. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah,
So there's a little bit of diversity here in the stats, but yes, still
yes.
of note.
Yeah.
All right.
And that is it for sports. There is
Okay.
some news coming out. I saw this morning about the Seattle Seahawks possibly going on the market after the Super
Hmm.
Bowl.
Interesting.
Currently, it's rumors, but we'll know more uh, in the coming days.
Oh, I guess we didn't even really mention that, did we? That your Super Bowl competitors have been
We'll talk
confirmed.
about, yeah, we'll talk about that next week when we
Okay.
get into the actual Super Bowl the following Sunday.
But we do know, so we might as well just say that it is the Seattle
No, I
Seahawks
don't want
and
to talk
it's the
about
New
what
England
happened on Sunday.
Patriots.
I want to talk
Oh,
about
so
what
you're
happened on Sunday.
purposefully avoiding that conversation. I see.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry that your beloved Rams did not quite make it.
Well, yes, because if they had, we'd be celebrating that right here. I'd be wearing my Rams polo.
But yes, it's a party like the 2000s because the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. All
Yep, and they're
right.
going to against the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Whatever. Fine. Moving on.
Yes. I've seen this matchup before.
Yeah,
It's
we've
a
seen this
classic.
before. I mean, we would have
Wait,
seen it
wait.
if it.
I have seen this before.
Yeah. Uh
Sitting behind me. I've seen this
huh.
before.
Yeah, you had the ball to prove it.
Yes, you were there with me when I bought
I was
this.
there. I was there. Anyways, all right, let's move on out of sports and into television news. And our television news takes us to the world of anime this week with a milestone for one of the most popular animes of all time. Yes, believe it or not, we are currently celebrating 40 years of Dragon Ball.
Well,
Celebrating, well,
yeah,
what do you mean?
the manga
Sure, yeah,
Dragon Ball.
of the franchise, what started everything. But yes,
Yes.
revisit or celebrating 40 years since Akira Toriyama, R.I.P., his groundbreaking Dragon Ball manga first hit shelves. Dragon Ball Ginkid Amatsuri, oh boy, was held in Japan, packed with exciting announcements about where the series is headed after the death of the series creator Akira Toriyama. The event revealed a brand new anime series, which will be called Dragon Ball Super The Galactic Patrol. It will adapt the Moro or Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, which is chapters 42 to 67 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, but won't release until next year. In the meantime, they announced Dragon Ball Super Beerus, a remake of Dragon Ball Super's first arc, which is coming this fall. It's described as an enhanced version of the story and designed to be, quote, more faithful to the original manga, featuring enhanced visuals, redrawn and newly added cuts, narrative reworks, and promises to deliver even more immersive battle scenes than the original Dragon Ball Super anime. Also announced was a brand new game project, Age 1000. However, that's just a working title. The game's official title will be announced later. And Dragon Ball Sparking Zero revealed, which is a video game, revealed new DLC that teased even more playable characters, including Super Android 17 and Demon King Piccolo, new costumes, new super attacks for Vegeta and Goku, as well as new stages and modes.
Yeah, so if you're a Dragon Ball video game fan, you get new
Mm-hmm.
stuff coming.
More
Really excited to
stuff.
see what that Age 1000 is about. Rumor is that it's going to be a Dragon Ball MMO,
Hmm.
so that could be very interesting. But
Okay.
we're in the television section, so new Dragon Ball Super. You thought it was done. It was not. The manga kept going. Where we
Mm-hmm.
got Moro and hopefully after they're done with this, Granola as well.
Granola.
Yes, that will be after this current arc, assuming they
Okay.
do adapt that. But yeah, we're not going to get that till 2027, which is next year.
Mm.
In the meantime,
All right.
we're going to get the fourth iteration of basically the start of Beerus and Dragon Ball Super.
Beerus is a good name. Sounds like delicious beer.
It's a good character drawn too. He's the
Okay.
god of destruction.
Oh, fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no interest in Dragon Ball, but I'm glad that you're into it. I'm glad that you have more Dragon Ball to watch coming soon.
Yes.
So enjoy.
Uh,
All right.
yeah, Beerus's first interaction and the whole Dragon Ball Super first came out in 2013. So here we are 13 years later with a kind of a Redux version now.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, because we had the original anime, Super. We had Battle of the Gods Director's Cut, and now this version.
It's a lot. It's a lot of Dragon Ball.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right.
But that's not the only thing that you're looking forward to watching. Oh, it's a weird segue, but you watched some stuff this week that you can talk about now.
Yes. I'll talk about the first episodes because they're up right now.
Got it.
Shrinking on Apple TV. If you're not watching this, you're
No,
missing out. It's
no, I'm not.
funny. It's
No.
hilarious. It's heartwarming. It's got everything you want in a therapist setting.
And that's always what I'm looking for.
Yes, Jason Segel, Harrison Ford, great in this. Nothing but laughter watching this. If you're not watching Streaking, you are missing out. I know a lot of you aren't watching it, but
No, I'm not.
it's so good. Just give it a try. Come on. Greg Daniels. This is following Ted
Yeah.
Lasso. It's there.
Yeah.
Just
I
do
don't know.
it.
We watched the
If
pilot.
you've run out of things to watch, watch Shrinking.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
All right. Over on Netflix, the first part of season 4 is up for Bridgerton. And I'm calling it now. They've officially ran out of ideas because they're basically just doing a whole Cinderella plot line in
uh,
this now.
yeah.
One of the literal maids for one of the
Mhm.
houses escapes to the first ballroom dance in their disguise. It's a masquerade ball.
Uh-huh.
She leaves one of her gloves
As you do.
behind, and the Bridgerton prince is now on a whirlwind journey to find the matching glove, to find
Aw.
who is the mysterious woman who stole his heart that night. It's Cinderella, but it's Bridgerton,
Yeah.
and this may be the point of where, like, all right,
Yeah.
you're a little too far out there, or
It
too like low hanging fruit.
it does seem like the Bridgerton train is slowing down. It seems like people are kind of like,
Well, I thought it was going to end
eh.
last year when they had the whole
Yeah.
reveal of who
Right.
was the writer.
Yeah. But no, you're just gonna keep milking it
No,
while Netflix has the money.
y- yes, but you, dearest gentle readers, Bridgerton is back.
Okay.
And lastly, out now, all 8 episodes of Wonder Man.
Okay. Disney Plus, right?
Uh, yes, that is Disney Plus. Daniel Creston, who directed Shang-Chi, well, he was supposed to direct uh, Kang Dynasty
Mm-hmm.
until the Russo brothers came back and basically stole that from him.
Right.
So now he's got Wonder Man as his honestly constellation, more of a side project. Uh, and it's about a superhero actor
Hmm.
trying to make a superhero film. So a little tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
but not quite so much in tongue in cheek and inside baseball as the studio was. It's more about like a struggling actor finally getting his big break, but has to continually hide the fact that he is a superpowered hero because of a prior incident involving a superpowered hero person in the film industry. And it's like, okay, we're like putting a tight lid on this. So he's trying to hide his identity the entire time while also like trying to make a big break as this Wonder Man character.
Okay.
It moves really fast. Each episode is only 30 minutes. There's 8 episodes, so it's 4 hours in total. Not a whole lot of your time, but also not a whole lot revealed about this character. You get to
Yeah.
know more about the man rather than the costume, more about the personal struggles rather than the physical struggles.
Hmm.
So it's a different take on a Marvel film, which can be good, can be bad, depending on your taste, but it's definitely a palate cleanser from all the other world-ending threats that Marvel is
Right.
known to throw out there.
Which is something that I think that they have had a decent, at least, track record at doing. Like every once in a while, one of these really hits. I really liked Miss Marvel, for example,
Mhm.
was a really good example of kind of a palate cleanser, a little bit of a slower, quieter kind of vibe. Obviously, the original version of this, WandaVision, which also did a good job with that kind of thing. And so, yeah, maybe this will have the same kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, but see, the thing with Miss Marvel and WandaVision is that at the very end, the final episode, it got back to its Marvel roots of very,
Yeah.
very comic booky of here's your hero,
Yeah.
here's your villain, make them clash. Not so
Unfortunately,
much
they
here with
all
Wonder
have
Man.
to. Well, that's good news because yeah, I feel like it felt like maybe they had to do that at a certain point.
Right.
But, yeah.
But here, they kind of subvert that trope here
Okay.
with a big chase at the end, and it keeps you on pins and needles of where it's going to lead up until you get the final reveal, which
Okay.
is really great in the subversion of it. But like I said, it does make me wonder, what are your powers, Wonder Man? What can you do here?
Yeah. Hmm. Well,
Left
maybe we'll
ambiguous
never know.
on purpose.
Yeah. All right. So that's TV. Any other TV that you want to talk about?
Uh, the best TV is coming back next week.
Oh,
Gold Zone.
Gold Zone. We'll talk about Gold Zone next week. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Yeah, we will.
But in the meantime, yeah, I'm watching the same stuff. We're still watching The Traders. That season continues to be fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
The Pit continues to be great.
there you go. All right. Well, we'll catch up with that stuff when it ends. But in the meantime, let's go into cancellations and renewals.
What am I no longer watching?
No cancellations this week, actually. Just a couple of renewals. We have Shrinking, as you just mentioned, on Apple
Ooh,
TV, but it's
good
coming back
news.
for yet another season. Season 4 has been confirmed. So there you go. You also have Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer getting renewed for a fifth season. I didn't realize that it had been on that long, but here we are.
Netflix just
Netflix
keeps up
cranking it
quietly
out.
making them.
Then we have a couple of deaths that we have to talk about. First, we have Sly Dunbar, age 73, Jamaican drummer for Sly and Robbie, record producer also, produced Underneath It All, and songwriter for Murder She Wrote, not the television show.
Not that Murder She
Yeah,
Wrote,
not that she.
but for Sly and Robbie, Murder She Wrote the
Right.
song.
Yeah.
And underneath it all, the No Doubt hit. Underneath it all.
Yes. Which is a cover. But yes.
Yes.
Anyway. All right. But today we had a rough one. Catherine O'Hara, big shocker today, age 71. Of course, a Canadian American actress famous for movies like Beetlejuice and Home Alone, but also a recurring character on Schitt's Creek. And more recently, one of the best parts of the studio,
Hmm.
one of our favorites from last year. Also, of course, won Emmys both in 1982 and 2019. But just a beloved actress, always a joy when she would show up in things. It just so depressing. It's just one of those that I think caught a lot of people off guard today.
No one had a bad thing to say about her, just
No,
good through and through.
yeah, it's really
Yeah,
it's
that
really
one's
sad.
a tough one to lose.
Especially 71 feels young for her. It felt like she would just always be around, like that she would just be one of those
Hmm.
actresses that just keeps like pops up and stuff like in her 80s and just doesn't seem like
Get to
she's
that Betty
aged at all.
White stage
Yeah, yeah,
of her life where she's just constantly in everything. You're like, oh yeah, that's
yeah.
her. She was in this
She,
thing.
she never struck me as someone who was old because her energy was always there. Like she was
Hmm.
always seemed like she was game for whatever comic thing that they would ask her to do in
Yes.
anything. So yeah, definitely a sad one. All right,
All right.
let's move on into the final section of the show, which is the movies section. And we always start the movie section with the weekend box office. And you're already
Yeah.
making that face because you know you
Take your
lost.
point. But
You know you
how?
lost
How did I lose?
because nobody saw any movies last week because your number one movie was Mercy, the new release, but only to the tune of $10 million, which was well under your $15 million goal.
I thought
So
putting at 15 million would be just
yeah,
like pitiful enough, but
we
no, it
lowballed
managed to
it,
be
but we
even
didn't lowball
pitiful.
it enough. Is the thing we were actually wrong about
It
how
didn't
little.
rise to the pittiness that we thought it could.
No, so yes, a lousy week at the movies means that I take the point this week, and I'm at
Yeah,
500 for the first time
you're
this
back
year.
to 500.
All right. But number two, Avatar Fire and Ash did even worse. It only made $6.4 million, which goes to show that just nobody was in the theaters last week. And that was to the tune of, that's right now domestic $377 million. Number three was Zootopia 2, Oscar nominee, Zootopia 2, $5.3 million. That's at $401 million domestic. Number four, The Housemaid, $3.9 million. That's at 115. And number five, rounding out your top five, Oscar favorite Marty Supreme with $3.5 million in its and 86 million domestic so far. Way down at number seven, your other debut this week, Return to Silent Hill. Well, more like not return to the theaters because it only made $3.2 million.
Yeah, more like stay silent. Yeah, Hill.
Right. Yeah. More like silent movie theater.
Yeah.
Anyways, but the theaters are not going to be silent this week. Three new releases, well, depending on the movie you see, I guess. Three new releases of varying levels of quality here. We have Shelter, which is the big action film with Jason Statham.
Yep.
That's out this week. The Moment, which is the Charlie XCX sort of mockumentary, which is a
Pseudo
fictionalized,
biographical,
yeah, it's, I guess, a fictionalized version of the aftermath of the Brat phenomenon.
which uses live footage from
Yeah,
it, but it's not of Charlie XCX. It's just of that moment in time.
I have seen very mixed reactions so far from people who have seen this thing. It is officially out today, but I guess early press screeners happened. And yeah, it doesn't look like it super accomplishes what maybe it was set out to do. But I might see this just out of curiosity, so watch this space. But then also you have something that nobody apparently wants to see, which is Melania, which yes, is a movie about Melania Trump.
That is a movie that someone paid for
Maybe
and
somewhere.
put in
Yeah.
theaters.
Uh-huh. Yeah, someone did that. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but yeah.
If all this movie does is it gives me hope. Hope that I too could one day put my own movie, my own biography in theaters and
Uh-huh.
force people to not watch it.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. All
Sometimes
right.
it could be just for me in theaters.
But enough of talking about a bad movie that no one should see. Let's talk about some good movies that a lot of people have seen and that are so
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
important.
whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
Are we gonna say what a number one movie is or do we not care?
Oh, sorry. I totally forgot that we should do a prediction here. This is a tough one. Do you think people will care about Shelter?
Do we think it's going to make $10 million?
Probably, right? I mean, it can't get worse than this.
All right. So you think Shelter then?
Let's put
I mean,
Shelter.
Shelter is the bigger
Yeah, it's the biggest
action movie.
release. I don't
Yeah.
think the moment is getting that wide. It's probably not as wide as Shelter is. I'm good
Right.
guess. So I'm guessing Shelter is your number one. Should we leave it at 15 and just be safe?
Uh, I think so. Yeah. If it
All
can't
right.
pass Mercy at 10.
Then go for it. What are you taking? Over
All right.
15 or under 15?
It's Grammys. It's Pro Bowl.
Do people really care about the Grammys or the Pro Bowl? No, not
Well, no,
usually.
no. The overlap here is a slim margin.
Maybe, yeah, no. But like, I don't think it's the same people.
All right. I'll do
You want to
the
leave it as is?
I'll leave it as is. I'll take the
Okay.
over.
All right. That's
Something's
fine
got
with
to
me.
pump it up.
You would certainly hope, especially if you're Jason Statham,
Right.
because these numbers are dire. But like I said, what are not dire are the movies that are now entered into the National Film Registry.
One of our favorite times of the year.
Yes, always love this one. Christopher Nolan's Inception, Amy Heckerling's Clueless, and Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise are among the 25 films selected for preservation by the National Film Registry in 2026. Other titles deemed by the Librarian of Congress as culturally, historically, or aesthetically uh, blank that were made at least 10 years ago. You don't have any other word there.
Oh,
Important.
importance.
Important,
Yes.
I guess, is the word.
Yes. Other titles deemed important by Library of Congress.
Yeah. And that were at least 10 years old or older
Hmm.
include 1989 war epic Glory,
Great
martial
film
arts
if you haven't seen
inspired
it.
The Karate Kid.
The first one,
Yes,
not the
the first one,
remake.
the original. Tom Hanks led historical drama Philadelphia. Speaking of Bruce Springsteen songs that start with Streets of,
Hmm.
biopic Frida,
Yeah.
Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel, and Pixar's The Incredibles,
Woo!
which I
Love
think is
it.
good entry here.
Good choice. Good choice. Bravo. Bravo.
Additionally, in the classic Hollywood category, that includes the 1954 musical White Christmas, which I'm shocked wasn't already there, as well as the romantic comedy High Society, featuring Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, and Grace Kelly. Others that made the list were the Ken Burns documentary Brooklyn Bridge, the Jim Carrey dramedy The Truman Show, good choice there, and ensemble comedy The Big Chill, featuring Glenn Close, Jeff Goldblum, William Hurt, and Kevin Kline, and a Gen X staple. The year's choices bring the number of titles to in the registry to 925. Turner Classic Movies will host a television special on March 19th to screen a few of the new entrants. So congratulations to all those movies, some real great movies on that list, and I'm sure all 925 of those is a great starter pack for if you want to start getting into the movies that matter most.
Right. And seeing as at least 10 years ago means from 2016.
Yeah.
But these movies are from 2016. Closest is the Grand Budapest Hotel
Yes.
at 2014, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah.
Because Inception
Maybe
was
2010.
2010.
Okay. So we're getting close. We're getting to some 2010s movies here. So yeah, we're get soon enough we'll have all the important movies from that era too. I'm just saying, hey, Pop Star is eligible after this year. I'm just saying, if you want to put a great American movie, Pop Star,
If you put one in there, it's never stop. It's never
never
stopping.
stopping. All right. Did you watch any movies this week?
No, you tried to get me to watch a movie.
Yeah. Did you not watch any movies this week?
No, I did not go and watch a movie.
Rats. I was hoping to talk to you about the movie that I watched with you having seen it, but unfortunately, you have not seen it. But I will just get this away, like, to get this taken care of before I start talking about it, even, which is you absolutely need. It's not even a want, it's not even a should, it's a need to see Hamnet.
Oh
And
no.
I'm not kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you need to see a movie that you will like.
Ah, all right. Chloe Zhao's
Yes.
directed Hamnet. I loved her
Yes.
previous, well, no,
Uh-huh.
I loved her second to previous film
Yeah.
in Nomadland
Yes.
because her last film she did was uh, for Marvel,
Yeah.
the not the Immortals,
What's
the
the
Eternals.
Eternals, yeah. No one, let's just skip that. Let's just say that the Oscar nominated Nomadland, Best Picture winner Nomadland,
Hmm.
doesn't even hold a candle to what Chloe Zhao does here in Hamnet. And I'm not kidding. And I
Oh
loved
no,
Nomadland. That was probably my favorite movie of that year. But let me tell you, this is on a whole nother level.
but
It's
we already
interesting.
saw one battle after another. We already saw
I know.
Sinners.
I know. And here's the thing that's frustrating me too, because I feel like when we did our lists, it was so easy for me to crown One Battle After Another as my number one movie of the year. And I do still think that is your favorite for Best Picture. And I do think that that's what the takeaway is. I do think that it is probably still number one. But oh my God, since that we have made those lists, I have seen Marty Supreme and Hamnet. And oh boy, it is hard to now look at my old list and be like, how are these two be sad that these two movies did not make it because they are almost just as good. It would be so hard if we had to do that again because this movie is easily up there in that same upper echelon as one of the best movies of last year.
Ugh.
Yeah. All right.
I do
Anyway,
like me a
let's
Chloe
actually talk
Zhao.
about the movie. So yeah, what is Hamnet and why
Yeah,
is it
yes,
so good?
it's
So
William Shakespeare. It's is
yeah. Well,
the
it
death
is and it
of
isn't.
William Shakespeare's son. Is it about
So
William Shakespeare or about his wife?
well, that is the question, right?
Huh?
Shakespeare joke. That is the question.
Yes.
Anyway, but yes, that's the rub. You could also say is that no, William Shakespeare is in it. Paul Mescal plays William Shakespeare in between writing, or at least I guess while writing Romeo and Juliet, and then what becomes Hamlet. But that is not where the movie is focused. Instead, the movie is mostly about his wife and the bearer of his children. So her name, which is spelled like the name Agnes, but is not pronounced like Agnes in the film. It is pronounced like Agnes in the film. I don't know if that's because that's how they would have pronounced that name back in that time. According to Christie, some fun fact about this is that the audiobook for the book Hamnet actually just pronounces it Agnes. So the
Hmm.
movie is making a choice here, and I think that's very interesting. Regardless, it is mostly about her character played by Jessie Buckley. And oh my God, just hand her that Oscar now. I am not kidding. It is an incredible performance. She has a range of emotions that you've seen very rarely on the screen. She is asked to do so much in this film. And I wanted to give specifics, but I do not want to spoil the things that happen to this character. Your heart is wrenched out of your chest, not once, not even twice. I'm going to do your bit, not even three times, but probably like 4 to 5 times with just the stuff that happens to Anya's in this movie. And that's not even, and only one of those involves the title character of Hamnet, just to give you an idea of how much she has to do in this film. Not to say that Paul Mescal's not good. He is great in this too. Yes, he's not quite, I think supporting actor category was really busy this year and he didn't quite make it into the Oscar race, but he does do a lot of work here and it is quite impressive for an actor I kind of, wrote off before I saw this. Um, but yes, it is a dramatic story and it does not necessarily highlight the Shakespeare stuff, but by the end, you do get kind of an appreciation for what Shakespeare was trying to do. Because Hamlet turns out, at least according to this work of historical fiction, I want to make it clear that this is a mostly fictionalized thing. None of this is actually backed up by this didn't really happen, presumably, even though the people are real. But it does give you a new appreciation, a new like view towards Hamlet that you may not have had, and like illuminate some themes that are used in there in ways that maybe wouldn't have been possible without this book or this film. I do think it is an interesting look at how art can be a form of grief how different people grieve in different ways, how death is not necessarily an end. Um, it's a very, very powerful film based on what I understand to be a very powerful book. Just a story that is just, like I said, just will take your heart and just rip it out of you, but in the most loving way possible. I think ultimately it is a story of hope, despite all the pain that the characters go through, despite the complication of the matter, despite being a lot about death and being a rumination about death. But yes, Chloe Zhao shoots it beautifully. It has some amazing shots in it. It is just lush nature throughout. Um, just the production design, the costuming here, top notch, all of it. The script, there's wonderful lines of dialogue, and it doesn't do the thing that a lot of movies kind of use as a crutch, which is leave everything towards the end monologue. Um, it avoids doing that. And the ending, the last 10 minutes of this film are extremely moving. And I was definitely crying, which is not something that comes easy to me these days, thanks to Lexapro. But still, it broke through the medicated walls, and I was crying during the credits of this film.
All right. So I have to see Hamnet and I have to see Marty Supreme
And
before
yes,
the
you need
Oscars.
to see both of those before the Oscars. Trust me. They are the two performances of the year, hands down. I literally, yeah, you need to see these movies.
All right. Well, good thing there's no football on Sunday because I think I know what I'm going to try and do.
All right. Oh, and I want to briefly mention another film that I watched from last year that is not an Oscar favorite, but I did watch it. Um, I watched Sorry Baby, which is not what I expected it to be. It is kind of a slice of lifey kind of look at a one woman's I guess coming into herself and dealing with trauma. I won't explicitly say what that trauma is because I didn't know going into it, and it makes the movie more interesting if it is kind of a surprise. But yeah, it's really well written. The woman who wrote it also directed it and stars in it. It's one of those like triple
Triple
threat kind
hats.
of
Yeah.
yeah performance, and it's really well done. It's very personal, and like I said, it has a very charming vibe. I will say if you like the work of like a Greta Gerwig, for example, if you like Frances Ha is a good
Oh,
basis of starting point here. If you like that kind of story and writing approach, this is very close to that kind of thing. However, it does that while also being a very poignant and well told story about a very specific kind of trauma that women, especially, are very often subject to, and how someone deals with that, and how the world reacts to you when you are the person that has that happen to you. Again, don't want to go in specifics, but see, I do recommend it. It is very good.
okay. Where can I watch that?
That is streaming on HBO Max, I believe.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. All right. I also watched an older movie, Call Me by Your Name, which I had never seen. I finally caught up
Oh,
to over
the
10
other
years
Timothy
ago.
Chalamet
Yeah, because I needed to fill in my Timmy quotient, and I liked it. I didn't like it as much as Christie, and I maybe I still don't think it was like, oh, definitely Best Picture over Green Book, but anything was Best Picture over Green Book. Let's be real.
was Army Hammer too distracting in that film?
Unfortunately, it does. You do have to spend a lot of time with Army Hammer in that film, but as long as you don't think about it too much, it's fine.
Well, all right,
All right.
there's a lot in that film too, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Not pay attention
yeah.
to the face of Army Hammer.
Yeah. Oh, and I just remembered I also watched Disney Pixar's Elio.
How many did you watch this week?
There was a day where I watched all three of those. That was that day I watched three of those movies. I watched Hamnet in the theater. I went home and watched Sorry Baby and Elio back to back.
Okay.
Fun fact, all four of those films are linked because the name of the main character in Sorry Baby is named Agnes.
That
And guess what Timmy's name in Call Me by Your Name is? Elio.
Alien.
So anyway, Pixar's Elio, good foundation, but not a great Pixar movie. I think it's just
Mhm.
fine. It's a 3 out of 5. I think there are some good ideas buried underneath in there somewhere, but it's kind of like if Lilo and Stitch leaned more on the sci-fi stuff as opposed to the family stuff, and was a little bit more ham-fisted about combining them. That's how
Hmm.
I'll put it. I think Lilo and Stitch is a better version of that kind of story. But
Yeah, Elio definitely has a good structure in it,
yeah,
but I think Death by Committee is the ultimate story for
yes.
Elio.
I wish it was better. It is a movie that could have been way better than it is, but the
Mhm.
end result is not bad. It's just, like I said, 3 out of 5.
I think you put it best when you say specificity equals
Hmm. Hmm.
generality.
Yeah, I think that it has moments of specificity that I think are the best moments in the film. I think the first 10 minutes of this are amazing and really well done. And then it just kind of loses me when it decides to do what I call the Wreck-It Ralph problem, which is it stays in the fantasy world instead of connecting it back to the real world sooner.
Yep.
Anyway,
Anyways, my hair is dripping down. We've gone long here.
yeah, sorry. I wanted to talk about those movies really bad, and we went
And
along with the Grammy stuff. But yes, if you haven't seen any movies, then we can wrap it up.
yep, let's wrap it up.
All right. Thank you for joining us on the Media Boat podcast this week. We'll be back next week for an exciting episode. We'll be talking about Olympics. We'll be talking about, like you said, we'll do a Super Bowl preview. We'll talk about all sorts of things, hopefully better political news than this week,
I
but
mean,
probably
well, at least
not.
we'll talk about who's in the Super Bowl, who's
Yeah.
performing in the Super Bowl, not just Bad
Yes.
Bunny, but all the other
Right.
performers as well. Like you said, Grammy Awards, Olympic opening ceremonies. We'll know
Yeah.
who won the Australian Open by next week,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be in February.
Hey, February, very exciting month because it's so much. There's so much happening in February. It's
Yes.
Olympics, it's the Super Bowl, it's the Grammys, it's the what else? We've got oh yeah, we'll talk about Grammy results next week too. We also have spring training baseball starting. The World Baseball Classic is on about to start.
We'll know more about that FanDuel thing.
Yes, we'll know more about the FanDuel thing so much. So tune in next week for a very exciting, already packed Media Boat podcast. But in the
Yep.
meantime, have a great week.
We'll be back next week with more news, more thoughts, and more of us.
Oh, duh,
All right.
plug. Sorry. Just Google Media Boat Podcast. You'll find us. Email at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. Okay, bye.
All right. Bye.